There's a story in Joshua 3 where they're going to cross the Jordan. Let me just highlight a couple of these verses. Joshua chapter 3, verse 5. Joshua told the people, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. I just want you to get this, that God wants to do something amazing, right? If you've already kind of been a part of this 200K thing, that in and of itself is amazing, right? Just kind of this momentum that comes from that. I'm referencing the email text that you sent me yesterday. All of us have things that God's doing. We just go, man, that's amazing. I was in community group last night hearing testimonies of just amazing things that God's doing. So it's easy to see that God wants to do something amazing. But then here's what he says after that. Verse 6. So Joshua said to the priest, now he's talking to the leaders, right? So he's talking to the people, God wants to do something amazing, and then he turns and talks to the priest, and for the sake of the teaching today, y'all are the priests, right? You're the leaders. And he turns to them, and here's what he says. Take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass on ahead of the people. So they took it up and went ahead of them. Skip down to verses 14 to 15. Joshua chapter 3, verses 14 and 15. So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priest, carrying the Ark of the Covenant, went ahead of them. Who are the priests? You are. You can say it with God. Who are the priests?
We are.
You are. Okay? At our church, we are pastors. Getting there. But we're all leaders. We're priests. Okay? So when you hear the word priest in this story, just think, me, that's you. So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. Leaders lead. Now the Jordan is at flood stage all during harvest. Somebody tell me why that's important. What does flood stage mean?
Not a good place to be in the middle of the river.
Not the kind of place you want to go into. Okay? This is a big deal. It's flood stage, and here's what they did. Yet as soon as the priests who carried the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. It piled up in a heap in a great distance away in a town called Adam. So leaders are first in. They picked up the ark and they were the first to put their feet in the water. Now it says once they touched the edge of the water, so I don't know if that means that I just picture pallbearers in my head because it's a long arc, so maybe there's like 6 or so guys. So I don't think the first people, they didn't put because all the priests had to touch the water. So if you were the first 2, you had to go even further into the flood stage so that the back people could get their feet in the water. But they're the first in. Leaders are the first in. And in Joshua chapter 4, verses 10 and verses 15 through 18, what you'll read is that the leaders stood in the middle of the Red Sea while everybody passed. And once everybody got out, then the leaders were the last out. And it says that once their feet came out, as soon as their feet came out, the waters returned and started to flow again. So it's not a firefighter idea. It's not an accounting idea. It's not an inventory idea. It's a God idea. That leaders are first in and last out. So what changes our mindset as leaders from LIFO to follow? Because I've followed people who were last in, first out people. I bet you have too, right? Who talked a good game, but when push came to shove, they were nowhere to be found. They were last in and first out. Or they waited to see if it would work, and then they jumped in, and then they were quick to get out and take the glory. We've all followed people like that. What changes our perspective from that to first in, last out? I would say it's this: understanding the influence that accompanies leadership. When you really understand the influence that you have as leaders, you don't want to be first out. You want to stay as long as you can stay, because you realize the longer that I stand here, the more influence I have and do behind me. Leadership is a trust. It is not a position. Leadership is a trust. It is not a position. Okay, got that? You're here don't hate me when I say this. I don't know how to say stuff the right way, so I'm the perfect pastor if you like to gossip, because I give you plenty of stuff to talk about, right? I just share my heart, okay? You're here because we need to start somewhere. I'll be totally honest. You're not here because you're the best leader in the world, but neither am I. You're here because I believe that God spoke a word. He said, cultivate the leadership at the gathering. And so we had to start somewhere. Which means that you are here because you hold a position of leadership or you wouldn't be in this room. Okay? Like I said earlier, there are people that are leaders in our church, but they don't hold positions of leadership. They're just as important from an influence standpoint. But you hold a position of leadership. And so you're here because we need to start somewhere. And we're going to start with y'all. But the position's not what leadership's about. Leadership's the trust. It's not a position. Because every community group leader in this room, you have the trust of the people that are in your group. Everybody that leads a team in our church, you have the trust with the people that come behind you. These priests that were standing in the Jordan, can you imagine if they did, like halfway through, they just went, I'm out. All the water would have come back. All the people still crossing the river would have died. I mean, they were trusted with something, right? So that statement, leadership is a trust, but not a position, is important. This one's even more important, okay? You ready? This is what you'll either love it or hate it. Our actions reveal whether or not we get that. We can say, oh, that's right, yeah, that's true. Leadership's a trust, not a position, but it's how we act that reveals whether or not we really understand that. Leaders don't do a lot of pointing. They do a lot of leading. Come on, we can do this. Let's go do it. Not, y'all go do that. All right? That's on the banks pointing. Y'all do it. Leaders are first in, last out. Come on, we can do this together. Let's do this. Our actions reveal whether or not we get that. Okay, so the last question on that little quiz that you couldn't read because it wasn't on the screen said, this is true of every leader, right? Of every leader. And the correct answer was they were all first followers. Every leader who's ever been, who was a great leader at some point was a follower first. So here's what I want you to talk about at your tables, okay? You got, how much time am I giving you? I think 5 minutes. So you talk quickly. Maybe, wait, you get like 6 minutes. Talk about this. What emotions do you feel when you think about going first? This will be great, because extroverts will be like, I can't wait. Introverts are like, you go ahead. I'm with you. Far, far behind you. So when you think about going first, don't make it spiritual, just that. When you think about going first, what kind of emotions does that elicit for you? And you've got a few minutes to talk about it at your table. Okay.